all y'all are having a blessed day. It has been cloudy all day. It looks like it's fixing to rain, and the chickens had fun yard time today, and the kitties, and I found another baby kitten, so keeping my fingers crossed nothing happens to it. So we are here today with our next little project, and that is another stuffed potato chip block. I have taken the liberty of doing the 4-inch version for us already, and this is another 16 patch, and it's called Mosiac. So that is the 4-inch version, and as always, the instructions will be linked for you down below. And before we begin, I'd like to remind you that if you would like to try a traditional Kawandi table runner, I have kits available for this table runner right over on my coffee channel. And if you would like to get access to my exclusive bird pattern, you might want to stop and sign up for a subscription over on coffee as well. And if you are a member of the top tiers, you will get a 20% off in my store for everything, including this piece here. This piece I haven't quilted yet, so it's not up there yet. And this one I'm debating if I'm going to put it up for sale as a table runner or if maybe I'll make a little purse out of it. So that's another option. So now that the business is out of the way, I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to walk you through this block. For the 4-inch block, which I have right here, you're going to make 16 half square triangles all at once as follows. You're going to cut one black and one white rectangle that measures 3 3/4 by 7 1/2. Now, you can make it a little bit larger if you want, because they will need to be trimmed down a wee bit. You're going to mark your grid at 1 7/8 as pictured here, and then you're going to draw diagonal lines as pictured here. Now, after that, you are going to sew 1/4 inch away from both sides of the diagonal lines. So you're going to sew here all the way around, and then you're going to sew the outside all the way around. And then you're going to cut on the straight edges, and you'll end up with 8 squares. And then you're going to take those squares and you're going to cut them down the diagonal line. And then you're going to iron to the dark side, or however they want to lay. And you will trim down the half square triangles to 1 1/2 inches. And then you are going to sew the block together as pictured up here. For the 8-inch block, you're going to cut one black and one white rectangle that is 5 3/4 inches by 11 1/2 inches. And again, you can make them a little bit larger if you want. Half square triangles can easily be trimmed down. And you're going to mark your grid at 2 7/8 inches as pictured, these straight lines. And then you're going to sew as above, and then you're going to trim to 2 1/2 inches and then sew together as above. And what I do with these instructions is I give you all of the instructions, numbered step-by-step instructions for the 4-inch block, and then I give you the numbered sections that correspond to this with just the change in numbers. So if there's no change in the size or in the instructions, then I just change the numbers for the 8-inch block down at the bottom. So you're going to do number 1 and number 2, and then 3, 4, 5, and then number 6, and then number 7. So I'll take you over to the cutting table and I will show you what I'm going to be doing next. Half square triangles, it doesn't matter, you can make them any size and then you can cut them down. 2 7/8 it is. 2 7/8, and now 2 7/8, and now these are going to be big enough. 2 7/8, 2 7/8, and now we're going to draw the diagonal lines. So we're making 2 diamonds on top of each other. All right, there we go. So that matches this pattern now, this here. Now we're going to head back over to the sewing machine. We are going to sew 1/4 inch away from every line of my 1/4 inch foot. That way I don't come up short. Now you can pivot. And it's always easier to trim down. You can't add more Okay, so we have sewn 1/4 inch away from all of the diagonal lines. Now we're headed back over to the cutting table. So now what we do is we cut down all of the straight lines. Okay, and now we're going to cut down all of these lines. And now down the diagonals. And then we will iron. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the iron here. Okay, I'm just going to iron all of them in the same way, and then we will trim them down. Okay, last one, and then we'll trim them down. These need to be trimmed down to 2.5 inches. Okay, I am using this 45-degree angle on this ruler, and I am letting it ride right along the diagonal seam line here. There's very little that you need to trim off here. I'm getting rid of the dog ears. 2.5. Okay, so we are going to trim those up to 2.5 inches, and then we'll meet you back over at the sewing machine. Here are our units here, and I am going to be sewing them together like so. Okay, so we're going to do 4 rows of this. And just to make it easy, I am going to sew them through chain style. And the sky has cleared up. I thought we were going to get rain, but we didn't. All right, so now I'm going to give a quick finger press, okay, and then sew those units together like this. And now this row I'm going to finger press in the other direction so that they nest. And this is the last 2 sets. Now we've got our 4 rows sewn together. Finger press them, and we're going to follow the same pressing direction. And the last one will go this way. And we will nest our seams, our intersections. And you can feel it, it feels flat. If there was a space in between it, you would feel a gap. And if they were on top of each other, it would be really a big lump. And you're just going to continue to line up this intersections and then go to the next intersection and line that one up. And if you have a bit of fullness that you need to work out, raise the piece like this, and your feed dogs and the presser foot will take up the slack for you. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. Nest those seams. Okay, there is half the block, and here is the other half. So now we just sew these last 2 sections together and do the potato chips. I am going to take this over to the iron, and I am going to give it a good squirt of Mary Ellen's Best Press. I'm going to give it a tug like so. And then after I've pressed it, I am going to trim it down to 8.5 inches, and I'll be back. Okay, here is our block all nice and trimmed up, and I have already sewn my potato chip units together. And as a reminder, a potato chip piece is 2.5 by 4.5. This is part of the Magic Square math in quilting. Basically, it is twice as long as it is wide. So any size that you like that you can do that with, you can use for a potato chip block. If you want to make really big block, you can make them 3" by 6". You can make them any size you like, just double the length of the width. And again, I gave this a good spray starch, and I ironed it until the cows came home. And now we are going to sew our 1 row of potato chips along the sides here. And if there's any fullness, again, you're just going to raise your piece of fabric up and let the feed dogs take it in. And I'm going to give this a finger press. And now we're going to do the other side. Again, match the corner and then align the other side. Okay, and now we're going to sew the 3-piece unit down this side. And those two are the same, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. In the grand scheme of things, it'll all look very, very scrappy when it's all put together. If it bothers you, you can always take it out, or you can sew another strip together and have it ready and waiting, have the old one ready and waiting for you when you make another block, because you will be making another one. These are very addictive, and that's why the designer of this block, Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmo with Brenda, when she designed this block, her and her friends decided to call it the potato chip block because of the old Lay's potato chip commercial, it said.
No one can eat just one.
These things are so popular, you can't make just one. Here is our block with our one row of potato chips around the center block. Again, this is the Mosiac block. It is a 16 patch, and you sew all 16 half square triangles together in one piece of fabric. It's a real cool technique, and if you're making something with lots of half square triangles, this is the way you want to go. Now, as far as bias, I didn't worry about the bias because the outside potato chip block are cut on straight grain, so it would hold the block together. And that's what quilting is for, okay? So don't worry about it. If things are a little wonky, trim them down, make them fit. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just sew it together, and you know what? Even if they're a little wonky and a little crooked, no one's going to mind. No one will mind. That beautiful quilt will keep them warm and make them feel loved. And that's the whole point of quilting. So I am going to wrap this one up. Again, a reminder, please do consider joining me over on Ko-fi. That is ko-fi.com/70acresstudio, or you can just type in my domain name, 70acresstudio.com, and it will take you right over there. Okay, I have many membership levels, or if you feel so inclined, you enjoy my content, you can just buy me a little fat quarter. I have lots of patterns over there for sale, and this pattern will be over in my store for free. You just put it in your cart and you can download it. There's no restrictions. And if there is a pattern there that you do like, you can sign up for one of my membership tiers. The upper membership tiers will get you a 20% off coupon or 20% off discount in my shop on absolutely everything. And I will be putting together the fourth bird in the Bird Herd series real soon, so that'll be coming out on July 1st. Here is our 16 patch Mosiac block, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope that you will give this one a try. I did all the math for you, and I even had Sanjay help me, and we both got it wrong the first time. So I just felt, I said, this doesn't seem right. That was too easy. These sizes have to be off. And sure enough, yep, they were off. So we went back to the drawing board. And here's a tip for you, okay? If you are trying to make a block and you need to deal with triangles, or you have to deal with math or some strange sizes, do it on scrap paper first. That's what I did. I took my 2 pieces of printer paper that had been used, and I scribbled on one piece so it looked like it was black. I didn't do it elaborately, but the other one was pure white, and I cut it down the size that I had put on the original instructions, and I drew the grid on it. I sewed the grid on it, and then I cut them all apart, and then I folded them out and, you know, finger pressed them and measured them. And that's a great way of not wasting fabric. I am very quickly and rapidly running out of black and white fabrics, and using paper to do a test run saves a lot of fabric. So give that a try. Keep that up here in the old closet.
Open the closet.
And fall back on that little tidbit when you are trying to come up with a correct size for something. On that note, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go enjoy the evening with Sanjay, and I hope you all have a very blessed day, a very blessed week ahead. I love you all so very much. Your comments make my day. They're just so sweet and so kind. So I love you all very, very much. Again, God bless everyone, and you have a great day. Bye-bye.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy.